And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Beyond Retro. I am Joe Amato, and I'm here with Tyler Baker and Nathan Kennedy. And guys, this episode, oh man, I've been waiting for this one. Not to say I haven't enjoyed the other ones we've done, but man, to talk about Halloween, the whole series, Michael Myers, from the good stuff to the bad stuff, this is going to be a fun one. So, how you guys doing?
I'm not looking forward to talking to the bad stuff, man. I mean,
We got to do it. We got to do it.
I'm about as deflated as a cheap whoopee cushion from the Dollar Tree, man. I mean,
Well, you know what? I think we can all agree. There's something that probably we all are going to think are bad stuff, but then there might be things that me and Nathan might like that Tyler might hate, and vice versa. So it'll be interesting.
that's pretty much going to be you two defending all the sequels after two, and I'm just going to sit back and I've got a box of Playboys in the other room. I can kind of I haven't looked at in a while. So while you guys are praising Part 5, I can look at who was the centerfold for February 2012.
All right. So what's up, Nathan? How you doing, man?
I wish I could say I was doing well, but I spent most of my week watching the bad parts of this
Oh yeah.
franchise.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I'm sure your bad part, I hope, is my worst bad part. Which, well, we'll get to that later. We'll see if we
yeah.
agree.
I don't think you have a bad worst part for this
Well,
series, Joe. I feel like you've managed to find something to defend in every one of these films except one,
yeah.
and I feel like that one's like, what? Yeah, that kind of goes without saying, but I don't know. I'll just let it speak for itself here.
Well, all right. Well, while you take a break, Tyler, well, I'm going to have Nathan start off in his thoughts of, when he first experienced Halloween. But before that, we're going to save something to the end of the episode because there's something special we want to tell you guys to watch after the show. We don't want to say it now because you guys might have forgot about it. We don't want you getting giddy. So when the show's over, there's something that everybody's gonna have to check out because today is a special day for something. And I wanted to say hello to JSP in the chat room and Grim Dagon. They're both in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. And JSP is already saying, "Hey, don't sell part 3 short." We'll get to that, JSP. Don't you worry, brother. We're gonna hit up on part 3. Not saying that's a hot mess or anything, but well, go ahead, Nathan. Why don't you start off your first experience with the whole Halloween franchise?
First experience with Halloween, middle school, seventh
Okay.
grade, sixth, seventh grade, somewhere in there. A little late in regards to Freddy and Michael Myers, or Freddy and Jason. Jesus, these bad sequels have rotted my brain. So I'm sorry if I'm at a loss of words and I can't form sentences properly.
Well, was
Um,
it part one? Was it part one you seen first, or did you see one of the others before part
oh yeah,
one?
no,
Like,
no. The first one I saw was indeed part one. I want to say, was AMC doing Fear Fest at the time? Like back mid '90s, was that a thing?
I don't even know if I
They
paid.
were doing movie marathons back then, but I don't think the AMC, because if you're talking sixth or seventh grade, our age, that would put us at 96, 97. And I don't think at that time AMC was known for what it is today. I think they were playing like older movies, kind of like Turner Classic,
Hmm.
and not really focusing so much on the movie marathons, at least at that time.
Yeah. Well, I saw it on cable. I don't know what channel it was. I couldn't even tell you like the time of year. It may not even been around Halloween when I saw it, but one of those movies. Hearing about like kind of the same way with Freddy and Jason. You know that mask is iconic. Being a kid, you see that in the video store on a tape. You're kind of you're intrigued, but you're also terrified. But watching it then was after I kind of came to that epiphany of like, hey, horror films aren't as scary as I thought they were when I was 5. So check that out, and then kind of I think that weekend went to the video store and just sort of like picked up Halloween 2, maybe Halloween 3. It may have just been Halloween 2, but over time, immediately after that, I started like devouring uh, the sequels, and then of course like H2O came out not too much longer after that, so I rented that, and I think I may have liked it at the time, but that was just being young and dumb, I suppose.
Okay. All right. Well, Tyler, what was your first experience with Halloween?
Um, Seeing it at the video store, the same video store that I saw the majority of them, and the one that stuck out was the Halloween 2 box with the skull pumpkin motif. Didn't know what it was, just knew it was a scary horror movie with Halloween, references. And then I saw Halloween 2. Well, it was on TV in the early 90s, and I still to this day associate Mr. Sandman with the Halloween series because I saw Halloween 2 and thought that was essentially like the theme song, not the theme music, but the theme song.
Oh, I got you.
So when I saw the first one, I was like, where's Mr. Sandman? And it was just, of course, nowhere to be found. And I didn't realize at the time that, that was not, it just seemed to look at Michael Myers, Mr. Sandman. It just, I don't know. I just made a connection between the song and Michael Myers in that film. But I saw the first one, I think probably, it was before 6th grade. I do know that because we went to a haunted house in Roanoke that was extremely elaborate. And coming up the stairs, they were playing a piece of the Halloween music, not the theme song, but the music that plays when Laurie comes outside to kind of look across the street and figure out what's going on with her friends. Mm-hmm. They were playing that. So that I do know I saw it before 6th grade because it scared the piss out of me when I walked up the staircase thinking Michael Myers was going to come out. Right. But I was scared. I was scared of it. I still find it to be a very effective, scary movie. Not near as traumatizing as Freddy Krueger was to me as a kid, but the music itself, I think it scared me more than Michael Myers himself. I think adding the music and Michael to it, it had more of an effect on me. But grew up, scared of the character, and then being dragged to see H2O in the theaters and kind of like, okay, that wasn't too bad. And then realized, what, man, that movie sucked. But it was like a gradual process. And seeing H2O, I think it was like a stepping stone to kind of getting over my initial fear of horror movies a lot at that time. Because I'd seen a few on TV, as I've mentioned before in other podcasts. But it's a legendary series, and those first two, are immortal classics. It's kind of like it's hard to find things that hadn't been said about them because there've been documentaries done on these films and people talking about praising the hell out of them all over the internet. They're immortal,
Yeah, and and then of course years later, when here comes the internet and all sorts of other articles, and you see all the behind the scenes stuff and what was really originally intended for the series. Not that it changes your perspective on the series in general, but you hear of what they were thinking and going to go towards at some point. But what's funny is you bring up that Sandman song. You're right. Immediately when I hear it, I think of Halloween. Then, because I've watched it so many times, I also now think of Back to the Future when you hear Mr. Sandman. So now when I hear that song, I think of both of those movies. But yeah, the first time I seen it, I was a youngster and I was in the theater when I first seen it. And of course, then when we finally was able to rent, I think it might have even been I think it was Beta maybe where I first seen it on a tape form. I think it was Beta.
You're the only person I've known who actually rented Beta.
Well,
I know.
Thanks. Oh, you said that like it's a disease. Beta.
Well, no, because as a kid, they only had like a few Beta tapes, at least in our local video stores. There was only a few Beta tapes that were kind of mixed in the bunch with the VHS tapes, and I never knew of anybody who had a Beta system or Beta tapes or anything.
We were the last ones in the neighborhood that had it. We eventually, not to sound like the Bundys on Married with Children, but yeah, it took a long time. We had that Beta for a long time, and like I said, I think it was Beta, that I used to watch it on. Eventually, yes, then I'd seen it on VHS, and then you'd see it on TV on certain channels and stuff too. But yeah, that was my first experience into horror, and then of course, then came Friday the 13th, then came Elm Street. What's great about all three of the series in general is, they all have their own unique type of charm. Because Freddy is just, he was a disgusting, frightening looking creature and could be in your nightmares, and he talks at you, and it was just, he was scary to that perspective, and then Jason is like this, like I always say, some kind of unstoppable, like juggernaut of a monster that you'd hate to be stuck with. But Michael had something different. Michael just had the spookiness, the ways he would be in the shadows, peer in the shadows, or you'd see his face. Oh God, it's just, and like you said, that music. The tone of the music when you hear the Halloween theme or any of those sound effects that would give you the jumping, oh Jesus. And to hear that, like we said years later, you hear that that's what saved the series. When they originally showed Halloween to all these movie studios, they were like, they weren't even into it. Like they didn't think, there was nothing to it. But then I believe Carpenter went back and he did the ding, 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 ding. He started adding the sound effects, the music, the theme, and they said it like brought life to this entire movie. It had the people that are watching it jump in, and they were like then into it. It brought an atmosphere to it as much as Michael Myers did. So that's why I say, I mean, is that music and the sound effects, but especially that Halloween score is as iconic to that series as obviously Michael is. It's like they have to go together. If you hear Halloween, you have to think of that. But I mean, yes, the original Halloween. It's like I said, who didn't love and who did get frightened? I mean, anytime it comes on TV, like I think they were doing the Fear Fest, and I think Fear Fest had it, or it was Sci-Fi or one of them channels just recently. And even if you have it on DVD, you have it on Blu-ray, you still want to watch it. And yeah, I love watching it every time. And then knowing that they did special different scenes for, I think, the televised version for 1 and 2 that were like a couple different scenes that weren't in the theaters. So, and again, things you don't really know except when you're a kid and you're watching one and then you're watching another. You're like, wait a second, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. When that wasn't in this one. So, yeah, my first experience was the first Halloween. And then, of course, led into all the others. And now we could just ramble into some of the others. But part 2, I mean, it goes right with part 1. You might as well say it just gels with it. I mean, it was the perfect story that went into it, and that's when you first found out that Laurie is Michael Myers' sister. Because in the first one, you weren't really under an impression of what's going on. You didn't know this, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if in the TV version or if that was for part 2. They let the cat out of the bag about sister. I know that in the second one they said it, but which version? Was it part 1 or 2 where they had that scene where they showed Loomis at a school on the board?
That's 2. That was part 2.
Okay. So I guess, 2, we find out the whole sister aspect. But
let me ask both of you guys, like as a youngster and a teenager and a young man, I appreciated that, but it seems so, the whole mentality, like the motivation for Michael wanting to kill his family, that unfortunately get explored more in later incarnations of the series. But not that it ruins the film by any means, but I've always just kind of felt like I know John Carpenter, equates that decision with a lot of drinking and just desperate to come up with something to add an extra punch to the script that he was told to fix. But it just, you kind of feel like, he's finds out after all this time that he has a sister. And of course, you see in like these flashbacks, like Jamie Lee's characters visiting Michael in a sanitarium. But you just kind of feel like, what is the motivation to kill his sister? Like in the first one, you see he kills his sister because you can picture he just snaps, or he knows that his sister was, doing something he thought was, inappropriate. Who knows what? But it just seems so simplistic and unexplained, and I like that aspect. Now explaining the logic behind, I got to kill my family. Like I cannot leave Haddonfield until I have killed my sister that I was not aware that I had. Do you guys? Or is it thinking too much about it?
I mean, I can let Nathan go. I'll give you my impression after Nathan, but go ahead, Nathan.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. It was never a thing that really bothered me. I think it adds kind of, I don't know, maybe a little bit of an extra layer, even if it's sort of like you were saying that the reason that was in there is because of his drinking issues and everything. But no, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, because if you start to really overthink things in most of these films, it's all going to seem a little silly, right?
Well, that's why I kind of like the simplicity of the motivation in the first one. He's just some guy that escapes and decides he's just targeted this group of girls as, I'm just going to kill them. I'm going to do an homage to my sister. And it was just like a ritual killing almost. The fact that he goes, he gets the tombstone of his sister, Judith Myers, puts it in the house across the street, sets the bodies up perfectly. It's like this guy is just carrying out this, like, or like Loomis says, he's been waiting, 15 years, staring in her window, looking at nothing, straight to this night, as if like this is what this guy's planning to do. He's going to come back to Haddonfield at some point and just commit, atrocities against humanity by just killing random people for no particular reason, and then setting him up, for people to find. And
I never. It's almost like what Nathan said. I mean, I never thought of it because as a kid, when you're growing up with it, you're going with it. You went from the one to the second. Like you said, if we start thinking about it, then picking things.
But see, that's what I'm saying, because like I said, I love two. I absolutely love two. When I watch two, that whole story does not bother me, but it's finding the motive, because that is what's used in all the future sequels aside from part 3, is this ambition. I've got to kill anybody that's left in my family. And I went along with it. I went along with it for years. Like, I didn't question it, but it's just one of those things from the mindset of a serial killer. What is it? What is it about killing the remainders of your family that just, you can't rest in peace until you've slaughtered your father's sister's cousin's former roommate?
I just liked it. I mean, I just ate it up. The thought of he has to get his sister, and then here came part 4, and now he has a niece, and he has to kill her, and he wants to kill her. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I watched 4 and 5, and then at the end of 5, this damn guy with these boots in the whole movie. Me and my mom went crazy. We're like, who is this guy in the boots where it's clink, clink, and we kept waiting. Like, are they ever going to make 6? And it took, 5-6 years until we got part 6. And then we got the story, which they tried to explain of why everything was happening. And of course, even when I first seen that, I always felt like something seems off in this movie. I like it, but there's parts it's jumping weird. And of course, then years later, again, we find out that wasn't the original part 6. There was a whole different one but Donald Pleasance passing away, they just redid almost like an hour of the movie. They changed the whole story up. It's like, oh, well, that original one, that made sense. That went perfectly smooth. But, like when you're talking about the stories and, like you said, for part 2, then yes, that's his sister that he's got to kill. But in the first one, you didn't know, because wasn't it originally set the Halloween in general? It was just going to be like a different story every time, like Halloween 3. I couldn't remember if Halloween 3 was originally 2 or something, and that was just something about the masks, and maybe they do something else. I thought there was Nathan, maybe you might know, I'm not quite sure, but I always thought, wasn't there supposed to be just different stories of Halloween?
It was going to be an anthology series, is what they were going to do.
Yeah, like once they did 2 and kind of closed the chapter on that, John Carpenter was wanting to go ahead and start, we'll just make Halloween an anthology franchise. And, I mean, obviously, people watched 3 and were confused and were wondering where Michael was, so didn't do so well. And then they're like, we should bring him back.
Yeah,
because going back to the thing on part 2, though, maybe it's one of those things, even though it is explained that they are related, maybe it's one of those things, too, where it's like the one that got away sort of thing for him. Because, I mean, it's still taking place, that night. Then again, it's been a while since I've watched 2, so maybe.
Well, yeah, but you kind of makes you wonder, does Michael have? And man, I really got to stop overthinking it here. And I had no intentions of bringing up this. This is all spur of the moment. But and with that kind of mentality, do you think Michael, as a killer, has ambitions to kill his parents? When they come out and see him in the clown mask and let Michael. And they turned him into a sanitarian. Does he have ambitions to go kill his parents? Or his parents dead? Have they moved? Do they completely, kick Michael out of the family? It's just one of those things where that's why the first one is so good, because there isn't a whole lot of explanation. You don't know why he's doing it. That's what makes it so scary.
Yeah, maybe they both had a heart attack or had a car accident they never talked about. There's something that could have happened. But
it all comes back to sex. I bet Michael's mom was trying to give, Michael's dad some fornicating play while he's driving to a secluded hideaway. He gets too excited, veers off the side of the road, and blows up or something.
Hey, maybe that'll be the scene in the new one coming up. Maybe they'll explain.
They'll explain what happened to Michael's parents. Yeah,
there you go. But no, that's what I guess I enjoy about. Like I said, me, I'm a super Friday the 13th fan. I mean, Jason is my favorite horror character. But as for a series, I'll be honest. Halloween's my favorite series because there's a difference. And I'm not saying this makes it better than any of the others, but when you look at Friday the 13th, it's not like there was some form of continuity, if you will. I mean, they tried in some from this part to that part, but basically it was always just everybody's, just getting killed. Here's another group of people getting killed. Come Camp Crystal Lake. And yes, they did try to, like I say, somewhat connect, but it's like there wasn't a really deep story. It was just, You come to Camp Crystal Lake, somewhere around there, you're going to get killed. And it wasn't until part 9 they say, okay, you know, Jason, obviously somehow there was like this, the Book of the Dead was used to give him his evil powers, blah, 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 whatever. And the same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. Those ones kind of jump from here to there. Freddy's going to get these group of kids and this one and this one. But Halloween, even though, like you said, maybe it wasn't intended at the beginning, it's the only one that went basically from 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, that felt like it was trying to tell you a whole story. And like I said, I just remembered, I don't know, like I said, I have so many connections. My mom, her favorite horror character and series was Halloween and Michael Myers. And she just ate it up and loved it as much as I did. So I'm always watching with her. And I don't know, maybe it's just we watch it so many times together and we're just engrossed by it that I got into the story. I loved it. I loved, like, you know, like you said, first part 3, here came part 3. And yes, they explain years later, of course, you know, like you said, there could have been an anthology, whatever, but most people that seen part 3 thought, what the hell is going on? What is this? What are these masks? What is this about killing the kids? Where's Michael Myers? The only time we see him is on a television when they're watching Halloween or something, but otherwise, most people hated it. Now, I'll tell you what, I've grown to appreciate Halloween 3 now. I've seen it, and I'm like, you know what? It is good for what it is, for its own type of movie. It has nothing to do with Michael Myers, but it is a good movie. But for Halloween fans back then, we were all like just stunned, like, what's going on? So that's why when 4 came, it's like, okay, it's trying to give us back into the flow of part 1 and 2. And I'll let Nathan go, but damn, I just love 4 and 5. Love 4 and 5 every time that comes on.
To touch on part 3,
go ahead.
I watched that a few years ago, and like you, Joe, complete. Like I appreciate it. It's enjoyable. I love Tom Atkins and anything that he's in. So to see him like doing his thing, always awesome. And they should have just called it Season of the Witch. They shouldn't even attach Halloween to it at all. I get what they were trying to do, but with Halloween 4. I like Halloween 4, and the one thing I will say too about all the sequels is why couldn't they get the mask right again?
Yeah,
God,
that was bizarre.
Like it just got worse and worse with each sequel. I'm like, there's just no effort put into it. They may as well have just like found a William Shatner mask and just repainted it again. Who was in charge of that?
Nathan, I don't know if you'd agree, but for me, part 5 was a hot mess, especially when it went 4 to 5. You'd figure it should have been the same damn mask. But
yeah. Like, you would think that after 4, somehow, because they weren't the film that far apart, they would have kept the mask or something, you know? Like, whose decision was that? Just be like, no, it's not good, and we have to make it just soft. And I don't know. There's, like, terrible mask.
It looks like a kind of mask from a high school play. Like Michael's mask in the first film, it's so rounded and smooth. It looks like one of those emotionless white masks that you would see like in a drama class. Yeah. Not to mention the poor guy. Look, I don't know if he had scoliosis or he would like to walk like a hot dog. You know, he's not an intimidating Michael Myers, even though there's some good moments in part 4 with Michael used effectively. Overall, when you're watching Michael walk around like this, with a mask that looked like it was bought at your local Spencer's Gift that was marked down 2 days after Halloween, it's you know, hell, the movie poster for Return of Michael Myers has got the iconic mask on there. Yeah. Then you see the movie and it's
what happened?
It's like they forgot to buy the mask. They got the budget for the set and paying Loomis and craft services and getting the director and this and that and the lighting. We don't have a mask, you know. And it got, like you said, with H2O. That was I don't know which part 5 is arguably the worst. H2O is just as bad. Oddly enough, from what I can remember, Resurrection's mask looked passable.
Oh yeah, it's definitely better.
It's passable, but with the movie being the train wreck from hell that was you know, it was a fart in the wind. But I've never been able to understand that, and I don't know if they've ever addressed it in any other interviews. Like I know that Michael Myers documentary that came out, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. They interview people from all the movies, you know, Tom Atkins, even for people from Season of the Witch, but they don't ever address like why the hell does the mask look so progressively worse? Part 1 and part 2 have got it perfect. You could almost say part 2 even added a little bit to it. I mean, it was so menacing in part two. I mean, I don't know. It seems slightly different. Maybe it's the shading, the way it was lit, but um, it's such a simple mask. And knowing that they just got a William Shatner mask and painted it white and cut out the eye holes, and that was it. But they that seemed like the simple anybody could do that almost. But to recapture that same exact mask, it just feels like it would cost you nothing to do it. You get the special effects crew right there. Why couldn't they? Hell, I don't know.
No, I never understood it either. You're right. I mean, my God, fans make that Michael Myers mask from part one, and they do an exact replica. So I was like, yeah, I don't get it. But no, those masks, you're right. And see, this is just a quick side rant, but this is why I always say, and which dumbfounds me, is for action figures. The only Halloween action figure we've ever seen is based off usually part one, and then that godforsaken Rob Zombie we'll be talking about later. But I was like, well, we don't have 2, we don't have 4, we don't have 5, we don't have 6, and even though they might not be everybody's favorite, we know action figure collectors. We like having all sorts of different versions, and all those would be different. Just like Jason, like I said, the mask changes on his were subtle, but you could still know when you're looking at part three's mask, 4, 5, 6. You know what I mean? You know when you're looking at a certain part of Friday the 13th mask. But yeah, Michael's is so vastly different. I was like, they make cool action figures, but. Well, yeah, you're right. I agree.
No. There is not a fan. I mean,
I want
fans, maybe. You telling me you want a figure of Michael Myers from Halloween Part 5?
Yes. I hate the mask, but I want a damn figure. I hate the mask more than anything, but I want that damn figure.
All right, Nathan, Joe, do you guys want a figure of Freddy from Freddy's Dead, where he's got the big smiley chewing gum face and what the power of love and all that? I know they did. Do you want that though?
Yes. I'm sorry, I can't help it.
You're just doing that to piss me off.
No, I'm not. I swear. It's like I say. It's the most bizarre thing. For figures, there's things I like, but I might not like certain movies. But as for figures, I'd love to have all different versions, even if it's a sucky one. And yes, as terrible as that mask is from Part 5 for Michael Myers, I'd still want a goofy action figure. But now, yeah, like I said, let's talk a little bit about Part 4. Now you find out that supposedly Laurie's dead, but now you see her daughter Jamie.
She died in a car crash too, just like her parents.
See, I'll die in a car crash. But and of course she's adopted or into a foster home, whatever you want to say, by this new family and everything. But yes, now Michael Myers he's back. I always loved how the beginning was. I like when those guys were coming to pick up Michael, and then they heard that scream. That one guy said Jesus, and then that security guard said, Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this place, pal. Like it felt so evil, like this where he was. I love the beginning of that. And
no, what's better than that is the very beginning. The very beginning of that film, where it's Alan Howarth's like haunting fall score of seeing these random shots of like farmhouses at Halloween with these decorations, this kind of wind blowing music. Sure. I go back to that frequently just to watch the opening. And Nathan, you agree with me on that because I remember talking to you about that years ago.
Yeah.
That
is. What?
And then it's like, yep.
Well, I mean, I thought you were going to keep going. I thought you were going to keep going. You're just like, yeah, we can agree on that. And then I'm like, okay. And then I thought you were just going to keep on talking there.
No, I was letting you validate my point. Yep, that about does it.
Yep. No, I mean, like,
no.
Back to Joe's point, we'll kind of skip the beginning thing because I'm already agree with you on that, obviously. But back to Joe's point on, I can appreciate them trying to tell, like, even though it has missteps, obviously, but cohesive between 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. It gets a little ham-fisted once you get into Part 5, and then Part 6, it's just, like, I like Part 6 better than Part 5, but man, like, they're just taking it places. And I can appreciate that to a certain extent, but I can see where it turned a lot of people off.
No, and yeah, because, the thing is that I'll agree. I've always said sometimes I like a person being evil just to be evil. Like, sometimes, you feel like you give an origin. It's like, oh, man. But for whatever reason, it just seemed like it worked. And especially finding out the evil behind of what made Michael, at least what led up to it. Like I said, it wasn't probably planned in the beginning, but what got there, once it got to that point, I was like, I kind of like that. I sure the hell like it better than him coming from the poor white trash family getting picked on, and his mother's a stripper, and then the father's dead, but here's a stepfather, and he gets picked on in school. It's like, okay, let's not white trash it up, please. That's what drove me nuts about the Rob Zombie ones, which I'll get to later.
Oh
but
yeah,
at least,
definitely getting to
yeah, but
those.
at least. Yeah, but the 4, and then when it hit 5, 6, and with this kind of like curse aspect, I kind of liked it. I mean, 4, was good, and I like Jamie. The girl who played Jamie. She just, such a good job. She was such a believable little actress. I'm sure there was some parts like when she was like, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Like I know, okay, what little 8, 9-year-old kid is gonna say that to themselves when they're by a tree after kids are picking on them? But still, the rest of her whole entire performance, I thought she did fantastic. She was such a believable little character. But yeah, it's like everybody that's in the movie, it's people that you're kind of, like knowing. It's not like you really didn't care about half of them. Like some of the movies you don't really care about, some of these side characters that are in there. It's like everybody was in it, like I said, you're into the movie. And
what about Brady? Didn't you care about Brady?
Wasn't Brady was part of Jesus, you just had me like had
he was in like Susan the Witch, right?
Oh yeah, Brady. Okay, yeah, no, the punk. No, okay, yeah, he cheated. Yeah, he was cheating on Lori, oh my God, I said her name wrong. What the hell was her name? What was Jamie's older sister? Wasn't it Lori? Because I'm saying Lori, but was it Lori? Wait, let me see. No, there's Tina is part 5. I'm gonna say Lori. I don't even care if I'm wrong. People, if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me. But I thought it was Lori.
Yeah, I believe it is Lori.
But no, yeah, but Brady, he all he wants is to get some. That's all he's wanting to get, and so he goes to.
Well, between the two, you got the sheriff's hot daughter working.
Yeah, you go to the sheriff's hot daughter, so he tries to redeem himself at the end, then of protecting them. But of course, then he basically gets the thumb into the socket of the side of his.
Thumb in the face,
Yeah, he gets that. So it's like, because at first you're like, oh, well, I can understand what he's doing. That they try to make him a dick character, but then he tries to redeem himself. Like, yeah, okay. But then when he got killed, I guess you're right. It's like, kill him. Right, I guess just kill him. But no, the whole little.
He's got some awesome hair in that movie. All the guys in it are like the guys that Brady's hanging out with in the drugstore. Like that one guy who's like, "Time's got to be primo." It's like, man, I like that guy's hair.
Because I love when the girl looks. He goes up because he's going to ask her out. She just looked at him before he even talked. She said, "Fuck off, Wade." She didn't even give him a chance.
But I like those kind of moments in the movie. Like those were fun. Just watching kids being kids. Everyone's. Guys they're walking hard on us, looking for a hole and trying to see them be successful at it and stuff like that. So
yep, and then you have, like I said, I'm not gonna forget Loomis. You got to bring up Loomis when he came back. Me, I tell you, damned I love some Loomis. Loomis to me is as much Halloween as Michael Myers is. It's because in how I always seen him growing up, it's like the yin yang, the good and evil. Where there's the evil Michael, there's the good Loomis, and Loomis ain't scared of Michael. Loomis is always going to try to confront Michael. In some cases, try to help him and understand him. I mean, he is so damn important to that series, and that's why I hate what happened to his type of character in the Rob Zombie version. Because Loomis. Man, I mean, I always were like, go ahead, Loomis, go. It was so cool. Like, like when you can think about part 5, when he's talking with Michael in the house, when, Michael's looking upstairs trying to see Jamie, he's like, no, she's not up, she's down here. And then he's like, company, I'll take you to her. And then, he's with the knife, he's going to get that. Loomis ain't scared. I just like how damn brave Loomis was, because usually, how it is when you're a kid watching these movies and somebody gets by the horror character, you're scared as, oh my God, they're going to kill Michael's going to kill him. But Loomis is like, oh my God, he's by him. He's not even walking away. There was something so, I don't know, engrossing about that damn character. I don't know if it's just me, but damn did I love some Loomis.
I think it's just the way Donald Pleasance was, just his presence. The way he spoke and I don't know, like an incredible actor. And that's kind of a shame to.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. If I want to say one thing.
No, you're good.
Thank you, Grim Dagon. It wasn't Lori. It was Rachel. He said Rachel's the name.
Rachel. God, man.
God, and I feel like an idiot that I forgot her name. I'm so sorry. But thank you, Grim. Yes, Rachel. I feel like such a dork. Yes, some Halloween fan I am.
Somebody comes along and hears this podcast like, boy, these guys think they know stuff about horror. They don't know shit.
They're
good.
I know. I feel like
I take great pride. Like I knew Brady's name, the douchebag boyfriend, but I didn't know Rachel's name for some reason.
I know, and I even knew the damn idiot Wade. I mean, who knows Wade's name? That dork with the glasses. But thank you.
The guy with the mullet. We knew his name, but we didn't know Rachel's name, and we knew Tina, the obnoxious, brunette.
Yeah, her, which I wanted to sock in the jaw in part 5, and we don't know Rachel. So, yeah, I guess some fans. Thank you, Grim. Now back to you, Nathan. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was like, oh, I felt like such a dork. So go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. He's just the backbone of that franchise, easily. Like even in part 6, you can still see like he's trying, and he's not just there to get a paycheck. I don't
Agreed.
Even Man,
agreed.
These Rob Zombie movies. I'm sorry, guys. I know we're gonna get to them. I'm just fried from these. No, we'll get to them later. It's just I'm sorry. I'm just like stopping, and I'm just like.
Well, that just kind of goes to show you, because like when Michael McDowell was cast, I'm like, well, that's awesome. Like he can make Loomis. I'm like, I can get behind that. I'm like, no, and I don't necessarily blame Malcolm. I blame Rob Zombie in the script, but part of it, I feel like. Given that, the sequels, some people love them, some people hate them. Loomis, with Donald Pleasance being in all of them, up to the H2O and Resurrection, of course. But he's the most likable part of all those films. Even if he's hamming it up and he's losing his mind, screaming and yelling, or he's, being yelled at by Ivan Drago's manager from Rocky IV. Loomis! I love that scene. You guys probably don't even know what I'm talking about. The way
you're talking about that. Yeah, I know you're talking about that one doctor, the one that was typing out his name, and I think I couldn't remember who typed it out. But what always drove me nuts is like in part 2 with those extra scenes when we heard them say Michael's full name, Michael Audrey Myers, and I was like, oh, his middle name's Audrey. That's weird. And then
no wonder he's pissed.
Yeah, and then here came, I think it was part 5 again. I hope I don't screw it up again. Some fan I am, but when they're typing his name out, they typed Michael. Middle initial M, and then Myers. It's like, oh, M. I was like, wait, why'd you put M? We heard in part 2 it's Audrey. Yeah, Milhouse.
Milhouse Myers.
Right. So that was something that used to always drive me nuts. I was like, well, I heard it in part 2. Why the hell is it putting an M there? But no, this is the thing, and I think we talked about it last week when we were talking about the whole Child's Play series, when we were saying that, like how Chucky started becoming funny. And then Tyler, you said, well, Freddy did it in a lot of the series. They seem like they kind of, in a way, yucked it up, joked it up at some point. That's the one thing I never felt like I got out of the Halloweens all the way up to like 6. Part 7, I mean, H2O, if you will, 7, whatever. But in part 5, there's one part that drove me nuts that you could say kind of yucked it up. Do you remember when they showed the 2 cops that came to the house where Rachel was, when after Jamie had that vision and, they had to go to the house, and she was seeing a vision of something about Max and Rachel, whatever. So the cops go there, check the whole house out, and then they come out and nothing was wrong. And when they're walking back, it's playing this like boom, boom, like this stupid clown music. Do you guys even remember that part? Or you remember that? What do you think, Nate? I hated that. Why?
Yeah.
Why did they?
The dude that directed part 5 was really weird anyway.
He was nuts.
Yeah, I imagine that was like partially his idea. But no, I remember watching part 5. The last time I actually watched part 5 was at Tyler's house.
Gosh, that's the last time I watched it.
Yeah, we were there with a few friends, and a couple of them, if I'm not mistaken, were like really, really into those sequels. And Tyler and we were apprehensive about it because we had seen it before and just kind of, yeah, whatever. But as we start watching it, we just kind of start tearing into it.
Well, yeah, because I think we watched part 4 and 5, and I think at that point, that's when I started laying into 4. I'm like, it's just not holding up as much as I used to love it in high school. And part 5, I'm like, unleash hell on this movie. Man, this movie sucks. And it was just like everybody was throwing bombs at this movie. I mean, nobody was having a good time, at least of being entertained by it. We were just trying to entertain ourselves by, like, good God, man. But I think they did. I think Matt and Jordan did like part 5. I think regardless if it's trying to maintain serious here. Like it just fails. It fails to deliver on all expectations, everything, and there's just nothing fun about it. The characters aren't likable. You don't feel bad for anybody in it. you're just irritated by the cast. There's nothing suspenseful. Michael's not interesting. The story itself, I know Joe likes it, but it's just.
Oh, damn, do I love it.
Look, but even when you're telling me, it's like I at least like to think, okay, I can understand why you like it. But I don't feel that way about.
You know, it's weird.
I don't know why you like that movie.
Yeah, not to even want to sound like an old man.
Like if you had nostalgia attached to it, or if it was the same way like how I feel about Superman 4. There's nostalgia, but I also understand the behind the scenes problems that were going on with that movie. So I have a better appreciation for what the movie that we did get. Whereas with Halloween 5, I don't. I
just, for me, I mean, okay, well, like, first we see how part 4 ended. Part 4, they shoot Michael with, so many gunshots and everything.
You saw Myers.
Yeah, and we don't see the whole throw the dynamite down a well thing. That was then shown in part 5, because we didn't see that at the end of part 4. But, when Jamie went up and touched Michael's hand, and then they said, get down! And, of course, then at the end when they get back to the house, Jamie then stabs her stepmother, her adopted mother, whatever you want to call her.
Mom.
Foster mom, thank you. I'm a moron with that stuff.
See, I knew her name. I knew I knew it's the foster mom, but I didn't know Rachel.
Okay, well, so she stabs, and then you think, oh, God, is she going to be the new Michael? And then when part 5 came, you see that there's just some kind of weird connection, like, between them. I don't know if it was after the touch, but, like, she just has this connection with Michael Myers. But what was just so engrossing for part 5 with me, half the time it does come from just Doc, like I said, Loomis. I wanted to see what is he going to be able to accomplish? What is he trying to do? And then with this whole boots thing, when the first time that guy got off the bus and you've seen the boots, you hear the sound, kicks the dog as he walks, you're wondering, who the hell is this? At first you're thinking, is that Michael? No, that can't be Michael. And then you see him walking up to a house again. And in fact, when Michael was coming to pick up, I think, Tina or something, when he was supposed to be Michael, her boyfriend Michael, remember, and he's driving the car. As that car's there, you see the guy with the boots come up. So it was intriguing, but I'm telling you, it was when Dr. Loomis was talking with him and talking about this way of getting rid of the rage, and he had a whole plot, and of course he just wanted to trank him and stuff, but it was the first time you seen Michael stop. Like he was actually thinking about it, like he was thinking twice. Looking up, and like he almost let go of the knife. I remember me and my mom thought, there's like maybe a little humanity left in him. And of course, then he slashes Loomis. But the best part that we really loved was when Jamie goes upstairs and she basically traps herself in the attic, and you see all those candles and everything. And there is lying the casket. And of course, she sees Max. Max is killed, the dog. And you see, Rachel. Almost lost the name again. Yeah, you see Rachel. But, Michael's coming up the stairs. She doesn't know what to do. She goes into that casket that Michael dug up from a grave, and she lays in it. And Michael's walking slowly over and looks, and he raises up that knife, and then she looks at him like frightened, and she says, "Uncle?" And then he like kind of shook for a second. And she said, "Boogeyman," and he stopped and lowered it, and she said, "Let me see." And he takes off his mask, and you see that tear, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to stop being evil. We kept thinking he's going to stop being evil.
You're not making this a likable movie by everything you're reiterating here.
I can't help it. I love that part. But then the second she touches him, he snaps again, which is almost like with Loomis. Loomis is like making him almost think, and you think, well, Michael stop being evil. But the second he touches, Michael snaps. The same thing with Jamie and Michael. You think he's going to maybe somehow something redeemable good happen with him, but then before he gets touched, he snaps. Which then led into the whole thing into part 6. Because when part 6 came out, which took forever to get to, sure, I mean, I enjoyed it. I like part 6. I liked, hey, they're kind of explaining something about this whole curse of the thorn. Now we're, because we've seen, like I said, that little symbol on his wrist. Now they're explaining more about it. And I remember I enjoyed it, but I always thought, it feels so weird. It felt like parts would jump and parts didn't make sense. I never knew nothing about it. And then you could fast forward maybe 6 years later. I've said the story before. I'll say it again. I was at my local Toledo sports arena. This was before the internet and everything. And they had, come buy electronics and TVs and get them at a cheap price. That whole crazy voice somebody does to make you go downtown. And I go there and I'm looking through movies, and I seen that sitting there. It said Halloween 6 or The Curse of Michael Myers, but something different. I was like, I'm turning it around on the back. And it had this whole description. It says like an hour different footage, and was explaining something because it was a bootleg. And it was on VHS was like, I gotta buy this. And I took it home, and in the worst grainy film you could see, it was all snowy like, but in flickering and jumping. I could still hear the whole thing and see parts of it. I seen this whole new story. It's like, that was awesome. Now I see it. It explains it all. And at the end, you see that Michael was freed of his curse. He walked away, and unfortunately, Loomis got the curse passed on to him, and that's when he screamed and yelled, which when you see the one that was at the theater, you remember when he's like, Loomis tells, them, is like, I got something I have to do. And they pan back into the building at the end of part 6, and you see Michael Myers' mask laying there and one of the needles, and all you hear is Loomis scream, and you assumed, oh, Michael killed Loomis. And then it says, in memory of Donald Pleasance. But you find out because he passed away, they had to make a whole different movie. But if he didn't pass away, Michael was free of that curse. See, and I don't know, that's what I guess made me just enjoy 5 even more, was thinking I felt like they were touching on parts, like humanity there, that eventually led for him being freed of his curse, and that would have been the end of Halloween. But since it went in all the other different directions, we got that godforsaken part H2O, and we won't talk about Resurrection, but we will. But Nathan, I'll go to you. I didn't mean to make it long-winded, but I just had to give my whole thing to that.
No, the one last thing I'll say about part 5 is I don't care much for the movie. I like the stuff that you were talking about is like, I don't know, it's an interesting idea and premise, but as you're watching the movie, at least for me, I don't know if Tyler would agree, but the just the premonitions, like it's cool in theory, but just the way that she reacts and the way that everyone reacts around her, it really just grinds you down. That by the time you get to the end of it, you're just like, all right, finally, it's over. But with part 6, I watched the producer's cut, the bootleg that you'd gotten that they cleaned up and put on Blu-ray, and that was the first time that I'd seen it. And I watched this earlier this week.
I still got to get that, because I'll just let you know, I still haven't seen it in clear vision. I only still have I still have just my VHS with that horrible fuzzy. I've never seen the clean new version, so that must have been cool to see.
Yeah, no, it's nice that I think the story with the movie's cooler than probably anything in the entire series, just to go from we had this and then the fans got together and unearthed or found all this footage and someone like pieced it all together and everything, and it finally got its due and they found the print that, we can clean this up and put it on Blu-ray. But I watched the theatrical version of this a couple years back, so I haven't been able to really compare the two. I didn't hate part 6 when I first watched it a couple of years ago. Just a lot of quick cuts, that whole MTV mid-90s style. And I'm just like, wait, yeah, this is just jumping around constantly.
Yeah. Even worse on TV. Just to let you know, that was just on AMC, the Fear Fest. While they were cutting parts, like they would go to a commercial, but then when it came back, it was jumping past something else. I was like, oh my God, not only are we seeing the version that is just confusing, but now you're even cutting out other parts, which makes it extra confusing. So that would not have a ton of fans of that part 6, at least the theatrical version, especially seeing that on TV. It's horrible. Yeah, you're right. It's horrible.
But part 6,
I don't recall that film ever coming out in theaters, though.
You what?
No, it did. I'm pretty sure it did.
I thought it went to video.
No. Part 6 was at the theater. I've seen part 6 in the theater. Yeah, Halloween 6 was at the theater.
Okay.
Oh, no, trust me. Every Halloween was at the theater. Yes, every Halloween. So, yes, I've seen them all.
All right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Nathan.
No, you're good. The cool thing about part 6, though, is it's like with the theatrical cut, it's gorier. Like the kills are gorier than they are in the producer's cut. And with the producer's cut, you get a better soundtrack and a more fleshed out story. So I know there's fans of, like, this person likes the theatrical, they hate the producer's cut, and vice versa. I mean, obviously people like Tyler that would hate them both. But no, the producer's cut, I genuinely enjoyed it. I would honestly rank it above 4 and 5.
I could, the producer's cut of it, I can honestly see it. Like I said, I love 4 and 5 just because they're still just so fun to me, and then, nostalgia, I love them. But no, the producer's cut of part 6, from what I've seen and know, I just really enjoyed the story so much because after seeing just regular theatrical and like I said, wondering what is going on in half of these scenes, it just makes for such a more solid story, especially for what they were building up to. If that's what when they did 5, they were originally thinking, hey, we have this 6 in mind. It was a perfect 1-2 combo of 5, 6, but when he passed away, unfortunately, we got the other 6. It's like just something felt so confusing. And I got a question because I still haven't seen it. Is that 6 that you've seen on Blu-ray? Is it pretty watchable? I mean, is it clear and clean, or is it still?
Oh yeah, no. They found like the original 35 millimeter print of the footage that they had, and so it's clean. There's no like obvious like, oh, okay, well this is from the theatrical cut, and then here's the extra scenes. No, it flows and it all looks crisp and clean. You should. I'm surprised that you don't have that.
The reason
Joe don't have a lot of stuff.
No, I don't, unfortunately. Like I said, the reason with that, I think it came to the money because when it first came out, I thought it came out in that gigantic box set of Halloween.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and I was like,
it did, but then they released it separately because when I got my copy of it,
I didn't know that.
I think I paid like $8 for it at Walmart. So
well, damn, now I got to go look for it. I had no clue. I thought I'd have to get that $80 box set, and I was like, well, thanks for saying that because now I'll have to go get it. But it's funny when we go back to talking about 6 again. Since they had to redo the whole movie and make these different scenes and try to like implement original footage with new footage that didn't make sense, one part that I always hated that seems so stupid, and now you see why, was in the theatrical version. You remember when they're at the hospital towards the end and you see Dr. Wynn and all his doctors, they're showing some new, kind of procedures, new medical breakthroughs, and they're supposed to be, operating or doing something with somebody. And then you see Michael walking through the hallway, and eventually he picks up, which looks like a kind of a machete, in a way. It felt like, hey, he's got Jason's weapon. But no, it looked like he picked up a machete. Next scene, he goes into that room and starts slaughtering them all, which you assume he also killed Dr. Wynn, the guy that's supposed to be protecting him for all these years and building up. It's like, I remember when I did first see, I was like, why did he kill him? Isn't this the guy that's supposed to be protecting him? But now that you've seen they had to redo the story, they just made something that made no sense because obviously in the uncut version, he didn't die. He didn't get killed by Michael. It didn't happen. So it just shows how, wow. I mean, just such for anybody out there, if you've never seen this uncut one, believe me, see that one. Well, first, if you want, watch the theatrical part 6, watch the uncut, and you'd never really want to watch that other one again. You don't want to see the theatrical one. It was that bad. But
it's interesting to watch them back to back, though. Like if you do that, I didn't get the time to go back and watch the theatrical cut, but I kind of want to now, just so I can see like just all of the differences. But when I was watching the producer's cut, I'm just sitting there like, I really don't remember this. I seem to remember the story going in a completely different way.
It just makes weird. Like one other thing, Nathan, I don't know if you remembered, is something as simple and stupid as this. You remember when the idiots, because I'll agree, they had people that you wanted to die, like the father of that movie, okay. You remember when he was going down into the basement. Before he went to the basement, the lights went out. So he goes down to the basement with his flashlight, whatever the hell it is, and he sees all the power. It's like, all the power's been cut. And he's confused, wondering, how is the washer running? I thought the same thing. I was like, okay, if all the power has been cut, how the hell is the washer? I don't understand. What are you guys trying to tell me? It's just stupid. It felt like it was such a dumb part to the movie that wasn't needed. It just was confusing. I mean, did you get that? I don't know. For some reason, stupid part drove me nuts.
Yeah, not only that, but like when he's also electrocuting him too, like he's standing in water. So you would think that would be like sort of, none of that made sense. And Joe, I guess I want to ask you too about the runes.
Okay.
I mean, like, interesting enough in theory, and it's cool when Tommy Doyle, who is played by Paul Rudd, and I guess like one of his first movies. So.
Yeah. I think it even said in introducing Paul Rudd. So every time I see him in other movies, like, hey, he was in Halloween 6. But yeah, go ahead.
No, just how did you feel about that? Like when he's explaining and everything, I'm like, all right, we're fleshing this out, we're establishing Thorn, but then when you get towards the end of the movie, and he's just like, wait, I figured it out, and he makes like this little rock circle, and it kind of like stops him because you have this opposite rune that will like take
Okay,
effect.
real quick. First, I want to ask you: did you see the? I think you just said it, but as Tyler knows, my mind goes quick within a fucking second. Did you see the producer's cut or the theatrical version first?
Well, I saw the theatrical version first a couple years ago, and then watched the producer's cut for the first time
Okay.
a few
Well,
days ago.
the reason I found that so intriguing, again, this is going by somebody that's seen it on a very fuzzy copy, but I watched the other six so many times that I remembered he's explaining the whole theory about these runes. You remember when he was in his room and then showing
Yeah,
it to the girl and talking, and I was intrigued. And then, as you've seen, we never got anything about that in the theatrical version. So I always
yeah,
was felt wondering what was this all about. So then here came the producer's cut that I got, and seeing it in fuzzy version, I found it kind of intriguing because I was like, oh my God, he made a circle and Michael stopped it. Like it canceled all his power. For me, it freaked me out thinking, okay, now this whole curse, they're talking about thorns, like a certain time of, when it comes, when the moons and all this horse nuts shit or whatever. Either way, I was thinking, hey, they're explaining it canceled out his power. He can't move, whatever. For me, found it fascinating because it was something so different that I was always wondering because the other version never explained it. And while, like you said, it could be a little ham fisted,
yeah.
it still gave somewhat of an explanation. I thought it was kind of cool, but you know what? Maybe I'll be able to either appreciate or not appreciate it as much when I finally see it clear because I still have been going by my damn VHS for the past 20 some years and it's
Joe,
terrible.
Joe.
Yeah, I know me and my ancient technology. So I didn't mean to keep ranting, but
You
I
and your
just feel
beta tape.
again, no, well, this one has via VHS, but now I know Tyler. He might not be a super fan of Part Six, and we have ran with this so much. Tyler, what do you have to say about Part Six? Much at all? Like what?
Don't like it. Didn't like it. Haven't liked it. And it's it's really about it. I mean, I saw it several times on VHS because my brother rented it a lot, and I sat through it a few times, and it just was. I found it to be boring, uninteresting. Didn't care for this whole storyline of this cult kind of thing that they had going with it. It was such a forgettable movie to me. Um, I just didn't like it. I just was not a fan of what they were trying to do, and I thought it looked cheap. I thought it just didn't look like it was. It just didn't look like it was. It looked like an afterthought movie to me. And of course, then again, this was over 20 years ago when I saw this movie when it first came out on VHS. Haven't had a desire to see it since. And Joe has told me you got to see the producer's cut. I'm like,
Well, you know what? I honestly think. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, you have to. If Nathan has, I mean, really, Tyler, you got to do it. You got to see the producer's cut because really,
I'm not going to.
no,
I'm
please,
just going to tell you right
please
now,
see it.
I'm not going to watch it.
Please, promise me. I'm telling you, it's that much better. It is like a completely different movie, which will make you appreciate how good it is compared to the one that you hated. Because I agree, that other one was just. It felt so weird. It looked cheap. It just looked off
Yeah.
because they changed so much. Watching that producer's one, it's like a whole nother movie and it feels so much better. I swear to you, man, you have to watch it. Please watch it. It's that much better. If you don't like it, I'll never recommend another damn movie to you. But I promise you, you'll like that one at least better than that other crap one that they had at the theater.
I'm
I
gonna go
just
out on a
don't.
limb and say that he probably will hate that one just as much.
I don't know. I hope he likes it a little more. But like, I'll never recommend another movie. But
He's
you have to.
completely oblivious to. I mean, I figured Joe has talked to me long enough to know what movies I'm going to like and what movies I'm not going to like. Nathan ought to know. There's been a few occasions where Nathan is surprised that I like something he thought I was going to hate, and vice versa. But
Well, you'll like
I'm
it
like,
better than the damn theatrical one.
well,
I
I don't
guarantee
like
you.
the direction that they're going. If I didn't like 5 and the direction they're heading in, do you think I'm going to like part
No, I just
6?
mean how you said you thought it looked cheap. Trust me, the other version does not
Well,
look that way.
that's
They
just
look
one of
like
my complaints about it. Like I just didn't like the whole thing in general. I don't like this whole mystical aspect of Michael Myers. I'm like I don't that it's just like I said. I like my horror villains to be simplistic in their motivations. I don't like stuff be explained. I don't want to know that he was gifted and all kinds of others. It just feels like this it just takes the. Is that Joe laughing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. No,
It was like this squeaky noise, like.
I couldn't catch my breath. Oh man, no, but I did. I appreciate because, like I said, at least the Halloween series felt like it was going for a continuity of stories compared to the others didn't. But I mean, they all have the whole separate feels. But well, I want to say one more thing. I agree.
Why were you laughing?
I like watching you rant about just how much you hate something, but you gotta give it a chance. But now I'm gonna go to part
No,
five.
I'm not going to give it a chance. I'm being honest with you there, Joe. I'm not going to do it.
Nathan, I want you to take him. I want you to strap him to a chair.
It'll be like Clockwork Orange. I'll make sure his eyes are open and he can't move, and I'll make him watch.
Make him watch it. But I will agree. Part 5, all the characters were hateable. I mean, not likable. I did not like Tina. I mean, from when she started.
What about the little kid that had a thing for Jamie? These are for you, Jamie.
Billy? No, even Billy.
Yeah, how come that storyline didn't go anywhere?
God, I can't believe it. I even know Billy's name. I didn't know Rachel. I know stupid little Billy's. But I know
when we promote this podcast, we're like, hey, does anyone know what this girl's name is? Find out this week's podcast. You want to know? Because we sure as hell don't.
No, these other damn side characters and don't know his. But no, like
I know Sheriff Brackett. We know Annie. We know Ben Tramer. We know all these like throwaway names and characters from these films, but then we don't know the female lead from part 4.
That's terrible. But no, from when Tina first appeared and she did that bum ba dum ba dum song, I remember I was like, please shoot her. I hated that scene every single time. But
she's probably sleeping with the director during that movie too.
Yeah. But the other thing I like that also shows about Michael, I always told you I felt like to make myself feel, I guess, safer with the thought of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. I always thought Jason doesn't kill kids. He's cool. He doesn't kill kids. Then, Freddy, you think, okay, he's going to kind of kill teenagers. Maybe he'll kill kids. But after seeing...
what do you mean he won't kill kids?
No, I mean,
That's what got him in the position in the first place.
Well, I know. Well, I always was thinking kids. I was thinking of teenagers.
You're thinking of the 2010 remake.
Well, like I said, he was always basically after teenagers. But yes, then he could go after kids too. But at least Halloween is established, especially in part 5, he is trying to kill not only his niece, but he's trying to run over Billy. He will kill the little kid, too. He's going after kids. So I always thought, Michael is not choosy. He's going to kill whoever he wants. But no, the characters in that were, like I said, so forgettable. They weren't likable. You want them all dead. That's why it was only, for me, it was always about Loomis, Jamie, Michael, and whoever the hell was in those boots. So now that we're all past part 6, now that that was all over, it comes back. We hear Halloween H2O, and Jamie Lee Curtis is coming out. Oh my God, how are they going to do this? And of course, they ignored 4, 5, 6. Now, what annoyed me is they still went with the storyline of how she faked her death or whatever. So we all thought, hey, well, it explains because in part 4 we heard she died, so maybe that's why she faked her death. But it's like, no, it's just she faked her death, and they're not even acknowledging that she had a daughter or Jamie or nothing. It's a whole nother direction. And this movie, man, was I excited to go to theaters to see it. And then when I was done at the theaters, God, did I hate it. Because not only was it just, I mean, it didn't have that sense of fear and spookiness. It just, nothing. There was no, like, good gore or good kills. It was just so bland. Oh, God, it was just so bland and crappy. And then the ending, before we knew that here came resurrection, oh, that wasn't Michael, it was somebody else. When she chopped his head off, I thought, that's it. I just remember I got up so quick. I usually like waiting for the credits, the credits and the sound and all that stuff. Right when she chopped his head off, I remember I got up and walked right out of the theater. It was the first time I walked out of a theater quick. I just hated.
Did you have your mask on at that time because you didn't want people to think you were caught watching that movie?
No. Oh God, and I was so proud. Here's the other thing. I was proud to say I was the first person in line. I remember telling everybody, I was like, I'm going to be the first person in line to see Halloween.
You'll be the first person out.
And I was the first person in line. Got the tickets. I was so excited. Sit down, watched it. Got my ass right out of there. I was like, so disappointed. I mean, I really don't even want to expand on how bad it was in my spot, but Tyler or Nathan, one of you, go ahead, because boy, that disappointed me.
Tyler, you want to go first?
I in the theaters, I enjoyed it. I remember my dad and my brother, we all went back to see it, I think 2 or 3 times. Hearing the Halloween theme played in the theater was creepy as hell to me at the time. I remember I was scared to go see it because I was such a pussy back then over horror movies. But it came to video. I was like, oh, it's all right. And then it like with so many movies, you start to realize, you know what, this movie's not as good. And then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And I mean, it's one of those things too where I mean, from everything from Michael's look and his mask to the music in the movie, it was just like everything was a product of Scream with the name Halloween attached to it and Jamie Lee Curtis in it. It was made by Dimension, who did Part Six and who did the Scream films. You know, it was a product of that time of horror movie making. And it just I'm sure it has a fan base. Every crummy movie in a series has got a fan base. I'm sure there are fans of Batman and Robin. You know, for a variety of reasons. I'm sure the HTO has got a fan base as well, but it just there's nothing scary about it. Another cast of unlikable people that they're just there. Not saying they're despicable, but they're just there. This is one of Josh Hartnett's first films, and
what the hell was up with his hair too in that movie? Like, what kind of hair?
It's like sticks out to the side here, and
like
he's the cool, disheveled prep school kid, and you got LL Cool J in there. Of course, at the time, like, oh man, it's cool. LL Cool J talking about melons and breasts in his smutty book, and his wife's like, oh no, you didn't, and it's great because he's likable. It's LL Cool J. I'm like, no, he sucks. He can't act. He's got no business being in this movie, and anything else for that matter. And even though I like his music, but it's a very forgettable movie. I think at that time, I remember it was exciting to see Halloween back in theaters and a new movie. But I think it's just like with so many of the sequels, man. They're all, like certain ones in Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. You hear fans mention particular sequels on a consistent basis. Like there's a fan base for Part 3 because you got Shelley in the Birth of the Mask. You've got Dream Warriors, which could be argued is the bigger favorite than the first film. With the Halloween films, I mean, people love one, goes out saying. I think there's obviously a big fan base for Part 2. Season of the Witch has come around and developed quite a cult fan following as well. But I don't hear people talk about, oh man, H2O. I love the part when she kills the guy that looks like George Clooney, who was really Adam Arkin. I remember as a kid when I saw the trailer, I'm like, is that George Clooney? But it's just, I mean, have you guys heard people like from internet or friends or anything that sit and praise H2O for anything?
Never. No. I mean, I even hear them praise 4, 5, 6, which you hate, but I only hear 1, 2, and 3.
I will praise 4 more, of all the rest of the Halloween films. 4 is the only one I will give merit to because there are some good moments in it. But it's just not something I just.
No, I hear no praise for H2O or Resurrection. I mean, they're both just kind of like complete duds, bombs. The only part I remember I liked in H2O was the part when she's walking down the hall and he was hanging on the rafter and slowly came down. I remember how
I thought that was silly.
I remember. Well, the preview, I thought it looked spooky, and of course, then they reused it into Resurrection. I was like, okay, we don't need to see it again. It's like, okay, it was meant for that one. You don't need to do it again. But that was the only thing I liked. But go ahead, Nathan. Your thoughts on H2O?
It's sterile. Like it's plain. It's the Dawson's Creek of Halloween movies, I guess. I don't know. It's I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis was like, oh, the Activia money is starting to get a little low. Maybe that's why she's coming back for this new one. I don't know. Because I watched it recently, and it's just there. That it's not.
I remember she was hyping up H2O so much when that movie came out. Like she went on Larry King. She was on various talk shows. Like, you will be so scared, people. I'm thinking, wow, it was scary. It was not scary at all.
It's just playing into the nostalgia thing. It's like, oh, it's been 20 years. It's like this one's going to be like, oh, it's been 40 years.
Yeah, and you're right.
But there's nothing. Because I watched that one recently. This wasn't the ones I watched this week. Halloween 6, Resurrection, and the Rob Zombie movies. H2O was a couple weeks prior, just because I was laying in bed and it was on Amazon Prime Instant Video. But it's just there's nothing. It's so
mind-numbing.
There you go. There you go. I mean, it was. There's just nothing goes on, really.
No.
I don't think I've told Nathan this. Fun fact, Nathan can appreciate it because Joe has not seen this movie and he knows why. The weekend H2O came out, I wanted to go see basketball again for the second time, huh?
That movie, oh my God, basketball,
man, I love that movie. It's a hilarious movie, and I think it was only playing at 1 or 2 showings, and we missed it. So I had to go see H2O because basketball, I had missed the afternoon showing for that. So that's the reason why I saw H2O, because I didn't get to see basketball a second time.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow. Yeah. I was going to say one quick thing.
I can't believe you've heard of that because you don't like South Park. You've never watched South Park.
Well, I mean, I didn't mind the movie. It was a little goofy when I first seen it, but I seen it. It was different.
Really? God, I never in a million years would have pictured that you'd seen it. Me and Nathan quote that movie all the time.
No, I've seen it. I mean, not a ton, but I remember seeing it. They were inventing a new sport. I thought it was kind of cool. So different, like I said. But I want to say one quick thing. Grim Dagon in the chat room said he actually liked the H2O mask. He said not a fan of the movie. Now here's the thing. You know what's funny is I didn't mind the mask either. There was parts where I thought I remember in previews or promotional stuff, it looked scarier. But then when the movie came out, you see his eyes. I hated that. I hated seeing his eyes. The darkness is what makes him such a spooky character.
Well, the face is not chiseled. It's too smooth, like all the others.
Well, not only that, but I'm telling you, the damn eye aspect. I remember when I first seen it, I was like, that just kills it for me. I don't want to see his eyes. It's supposed to be within a darkness. It makes it spookier because it's like he's soulless when you can't see those eyes. Right when I seen the eyes, I was like, oh, this sucks. And then a lot of times it's in the light and it's, real bright. He didn't seem intimidating. I'll admit, yes, you're right, Grim. I thought the mask was pretty damn good looking compared to the ones we got in 4, 5, 6, especially 5. But it was just the eyes factor. Just with that eyes being shown, just did it for me. Wait a second. Doug says there was 3 different masks in H2O. Well, they all.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I want to say one other thing. Goes back to part 4. I hate to go backtracking, but there was that part. You remember when Loomis told Jamie, asked her, where's the school? Where's the school? That's a place they can go to where it'd be safe and they'd have the bells or alarms go off. And they go into the school, and right as they go in, Loomis is like attacked by Michael real quick, like hit and knocked into something. Did you notice that mask from Michael Myers was completely different from the thing in the whole movie? It was almost like white hair. It was a whole different mask. The hair was sticking up. It was white. And I always thought, who the heck? What was that? Was it intentional? Were they going to try to build on that story saying, hey, maybe somebody was helping Michael? But did you guys ever realize and look at that part when he gets attacked right when he comes into school?
I haven't seen it enough to even remember such a scene.
What about you, Nathan?
No, I'll have to agree with Tyler. Yeah. I don't recall that detail.
Okay, well, trust me. You guys are, like I said, first, I mean, we know.
We're in for a treat, aren't we?
You're in for a confusing treat because for me, well, me, like I said, I'm always nuts with certain details with these horror characters and my obsession of watching it so much as a kid. I always remember when I first seen it, I was like, what the hell is that? It doesn't look remotely like the other mask in Halloween 4. Not even close. So you can expect to see a really weird looking mask right when they go into school and Michael attacks Loomis. Because then, 30 seconds later when Jamie sees him at the top of the steps, it's right back to the mask we've seen in the whole damn movie. So go figure. I don't know what happened in that scene. Did they lose the mask and they said, hey, you got a backup? But I just thought I'd bring that up. But, wait, Grim Dagon, they said somebody grabbed the wrong mask and nobody ever caught it. I don't know if he's serious about that, but if it's true, that would be, he said it was an unfinished backup mask. Huh, well, that's weird. Well, thanks for saying that, Grim. I had no clue. So, well, yeah, pretty much the consensus, just H2O was an absolute mess, but then here came Resurrection. How could it get worse? How could it get worse? How could it possibly get... I mean, whoever goes into Michael's house is now like his family, and he has to kill them all. And I was like, I hated every bit of that movie. I liked nothing in it, except when the credits came and it was over. I hated that movie. All the internet connection and watching, over videos and stuff and people interacting. I don't even want to talk about the damn movie myself. You guys can talk about it if you would. When you're done, let me know. I hate Resurrection.
Tyler and I saw this in theaters.
Yeah, opening day.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as it ended, we were just like, "Yep, all right, that sucked a lot." Um, once again, the premise itself, whatever, they're taking a chance, something kind of different. I'll give it that. I'll give it that much credit. But whose idea was it? It's like, all right, Busta Rhymes, Tyra Banks, yeah, they can act. Well, let's just put them in the movie, and then just the dialogue, like H2O. No one talks about it really because it's neither good nor bad. It's just there. It exists. But Resurrection is just so awful that there can't be anybody that defends that movie. There's nobody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if someone were to come forward and say they enjoyed it, what could they possibly? I mean, I can't imagine they're defending Buster Rhymes for his wonderful performance in the film. Tyra Banks, what isn't Rookie of the Year in that movie too?
Oh yeah, the kid from
Yeah,
like the friend from American Pie movies too, whatever his name
yeah,
was.
yeah. That jerk off. Yeah,
Thomas
he
Ian
sucks.
Nichols or something. I don't.
Yeah, no. I like Rookie of the Year, but he sucks in American Pie, and he sucked in Resurrection. And some Brittany Murphy lookalike, I remember. Because I remember when I saw the commercial. Is that Brittany Murphy in that movie?
Oh yeah, that's she plays Starbuck in the new Battlestar Galactica. Because I watched. I'm like, oh yeah, it's what's her face, Katie Sackhoff or something.
Oh yes. And then you've
Anyone who
got
watches this, they're just going to be like, man, these guys are just terrible with character names and actor and actress names.
well, I mean, and I will say this, like I feel like we covered good ground with the Friday series, Nightmare series, the Halloween series, like because there's only a couple of the films that I genuinely like. I've never taken the time to put them in my steel trap memory bank that you guys know me to have. If someone's coming and listening to this episode for the first time and like, man, these guys don't know much, and then we get lumped in with so many other people who've tried to do this and like these guys don't know much either. So I apologize to Halloween fans who are listening to this. But yeah, I have not. I've seen Resurrection 1.5 times. H2O just nowhere near enough to. I remember sequences, but not dialogue. I don't remember. Oddly enough, I remember the scene with Little Man Tate talking to Josh Hartnett about the statistics of teenagers stealing. How the hell do I remember that? But I remember L.O. Cool J talking about breasts and melons in his smut book he's writing, and I remember Jamie Lee Curtis is drinking white wine in the window and thinks she sees Michael Myers, and it's just
No, heck, I mean, it happens with names. Like I said, I might not
I know,
remember
but
names.
I take great pride in know, like we come to the table, we need to know our stuff, but the 5, I'm like, there's no way in hell I was going to tell myself to watch part 5. I have yet to see Season of the Witch, so I just seen pieces of it, but nowhere near enough to sit there and say that I could talk about it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we can at least say we definitely know the stories that we're talking about, but if it comes up with a name we screw up, I mean, Jesus, it happens.
Well, I mean, but I take such great pride in presenting quality product. Like Joe knows this stuff inwards now. Nathan knows this series a hell of a lot more than I do, but I just
we failed on Rachel. We failed on Rachel, but we got little Billy.
That is what torpedoed my momentum. Like
we should promote the show. We should promote and advertise. Like, are you ready to have a discussion on Halloween? And we have a picture of little Billy. It's like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Why are they promoting Billy? Because the only damn name.
I don't know if they would get it. Like I always feel like they would have to be listening to this podcast for us to have like a Tell 'em Steve Dave aspect to it, where it's like, no, yeah, we screwed up. Well, let's embrace the screw up. Let's push the fact that we screwed up royally, and none of us can figure out Rachel's name on the podcast live. And
I am going to say one thing about Resurrection, real quick about Resurrection. Beyond when they first, of course, advertised it, being excited, thinking, hey, it'll be cool, and it sucked. The only other reason I was really excited about seeing, besides Michael Myers, was Tyra Banks, because, boy, I had posters of her all over in my room. I was obsessed with Tyra Banks, so I was super excited to see her, and I don't even think we really got to see her death, except what, she was just hanging.
Yeah, she's like hanging inside the van, and she's barely in the movie at all.
Yeah, so that was a disappointment. Yeah, because I was thinking, hey,
she probably made more money than everyone.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And I was hoping,
and she didn't have to do anything. She just show up and put her face on the movie poster, and
you know how yours. as somebody, as a fan of somebody, you're thinking, hey, is she gonna be nude? So I was all giddy and nothing happens. Like, oh damn! So I was really let down.
Oh
But
yeah, I was hoping to see something, but man, she didn't do anything in that
no,
movie. I
so
mean,
that
we didn't get to see her in a bra and panties and lingerie or a bathing suit. Nothing, man.
yeah, that was a letdown. So no, just
No, we got more time dedicated to busting around watching kung fu movies in his hotel room.
yeah, Resurrection was just absolutely redeeming. So after
Nope.
all that nonsense, we come to here we go. Rob Zombie is now going to be redoing Halloween. Of course, you're going to be excited. Of course, you're going to want to see it. The part, and I know, hey, believe me, I came across a lot of people who love Rob Zombie's version and hate the original. I mean, they will just they will go
What?
back. Yes, they go back and forth with me, especially online. And you know what? If they like it, good. But I always tell them why I can't stand it. Not only how I told you about hearing about how Michael got picked on and all that crap, but I didn't like the perspective of the movie, meaning the original Halloween. It was more about the people and how Michael would appear out of the darkness and kill him. And it was more about them trying to survive this killer. Whereas this version, I felt like it was all taken from the perspective of Michael Myers. You're always seeing him all the time, and then him getting the outfit, and him coming out. It's like there was no suspense. It was more of just him and his agenda, his goal. I felt like it was more about Michael from his side and always seeing him compared to the other way around in the original Halloween, where it's these people being stalked by somebody that's you don't know where this person's at, and it made it spooky. I got no spooky factor out of this Rob Zombie Halloween, and I found Donald Pleasance's Loomis so unlikable. And when we talk about part two, I'll tell you why I really hate.
You mean Malcolm McDowell?
Well, yeah, sorry. I'm so used to saying Dr. Loomis and Donald.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I didn't. No. I'm not calling Joe Allen. I was trying to verify
Yes,
that you
yes.
weren't like connecting the originals for some reason along with this conversation.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just meant the portrayal of Loomis.
Yeah. Well, no, I thought the idea of casting. I mean, I will say this when we found out the movie was coming out, I was so thrilled to see people like Dee Wallace and Richard Lynch and Danny Trejo. Tyler Myers playing Michael Myers. Yeah, Tyler Maine, not Tyler. Dear God, man, what the hell is wrong with me tonight?
Who played Sabretooth? Yeah.
Yes, who played Sabretooth? Tyler Maine. I mean, it was a good cast of a lot of these. I mean, they're known in so many movies. I mean, they're not stars by any means, but movie fans know who these people are, and
just the portrayal of Loomis just to me sucked. I mean, I'm saying I didn't like the actor. I just didn't.
No, well, I mean, I almost feel like, you know what? Maybe some of these actors should be held accountable. Like Rob Zombie is white trash, trailer trash. Oh yeah, did I mention this is white trash in the 70s? Is smeared all over. It's like it's like gooey old grape soda spilled all over this movie. You can't get away from it.
Hey, it's funny to tell a quick story about the movie. Like I said, I seen it in the theaters. Was not a big fan. I didn't hate it as much as some other things, but I just wasn't a fan. But what made me hate it even more was a place I used to work at the time. There was somebody that who doesn't know somebody that has bootleg movies, and the guy said, "Hey, I got that bootleg Halloween. I know you're a horror fan. Do you want it?" I was like, "How much?" And he was like, $2. I was like, "You know what? For $2, I'll watch it at home." So I got that. It was different. It was different. Like, how Danny Trejo, he got killed by Michael. He was like, "Mikey, I was good to you. I was good to you." And I always hated it. He killed, like, "Damn, why'd you kill Danny Trejo? He was good to you." Well, in this version that I got from the bootleg, it was like a uncut producers thing. It was different. And he didn't kill him. He let him live. And I was like, well, that was better. And then the ending was different. I was like, why didn't they release this in the theater? This was so much damn. I mean, these parts.
I've never understood this, and you're just now saying this. I'm shocked that you want to see humanity in a serial killer or a mass murderer like Michael Myers.
When somebody's done good, and that's what I mean. When
I do that, but still, I mean, all the more reason why what he does in the first film. Those three girls have done nothing wrong to anybody. And yet Michael has decided I'm going to pinpoint all three of these girls, choke them, slit their throat, impale their boyfriend in the kitchen, and scare the hell out of this girl who eventually become my younger sister. for no real reason at
No,
all.
I
These
know
girls
you're
have
right.
done nothing to them at all.
You're right. There's the characters that, of course, you expect him to kill everybody, but there's always this time that when I see somebody trying to be good to somebody who's always trying to understand them, I'm always like, damn, why do you have to kill him? And just to think he's been there since Michael came to that sanitarium, has always watched over him and been good to him. And when he killed him, I remember everybody I knew hated that part. I was like, why did he kill him? So when I seen it in this other version that wasn't at the theater and he let him live, I was like, well, damn, he let him live. It's like that should have been in the theater, and the ending that they had should have been in the theater. But I think they eventually released it on DVD and showed the extra scenes. But I'll be honest, I don't know if it was an all through cut or if it was just bonus scenes. But yeah, I just remembered after I seen that the DVD that the burn copy or whatever, I was like, damn, that was actually better in the theater. But well, Nathan, go ahead. We rambled long enough about Rob Zombie's first one. What did you think of his first one?
Oh man, geez, I was so excited when I found out that he was going to be taking over Halloween because I liked House of Thousand Corpses and I really liked Devil's Rejects at the time. And Tyler and I went opening night to go see it, and like that first 20 minutes, maybe first half hour,
Yeah,
like we're both looking at each other and it's like, oh no, and then it just progressively just got worse.
worse and worse.
Like it's bad enough. It's bad enough that like we're gonna sit here and go through that part of his childhood that we didn't get. And what's funny to me is that first 40 minutes Rob Zombie spent doing this was not as effective as the first 5 minutes in the original. And his obsession with like white trash, the grimy, like he's got a good eye. He really does.
He
like,
does.
His movies always look great, but his dialogue and how he feels he needs to portray these characters, like it works for Captain Spaulding and Otis and everything. What they say, because like when they say it, you believe it. But when you have like Laurie Strode and her friends talking like they do, it just doesn't. It doesn't work. And just the whole white trash thing, like, oh, his mom's a stripper, like you were saying, he gets picked on and all this shit. Like it just, I hated it when we saw it in theaters, and when I watched it a few days ago, I can definitely say, like, I fucking hate this movie. I hate it so much,
I
so
agree.
much.
I absolutely agree because what's funny is before the movie came out, when I heard Rob Zombie was doing it, I unfortunately was petrified. And I was thinking, is he going to, and I did. I posted on Facebook, just like I always do. I was like, oh my God, is he going to white trash this movie? I said, I'm sure he's going to have him get picked on and do this. And everything I typed basically happened. I was like, that shouldn't happen. I mean, honestly, you shouldn't do that to every one of your movies. It's like if you're supposed to love Michael Myers and Halloween so much, as he said in an interview, because he loves Michael Myers so much more than Jason, because Michael is spooky and he likes that aspect compared to Jason is more brutal and vicious, and that's why he likes Michael Myers. Like, yeah, and then you just do this typical thing, you white trash it up, and then when you come to part two, and like I said, it's like looking, you might as well say Jason put on a Michael Myers mask because he was killing like he was Jason with that brutality. Part two was just, that was so out there everywhere because, okay, his sister she's never knew Michael until the end of part one or whatever the hell. It's like, how is she having connections and these visions of her mother and the white horse like Michael has? Like, okay, now you lost me. You're trying to, in the first one, go with the aspect of just, it's regular, it's simple. It's like white trash, somebody gets picked on, and it has no supernatural aspects. Then part two comes, and you're implementing dual visions of no way she can have the same vision Michael's having. They're seeing the same thing. They're seeing the white horse. You turn Dr. Loomis into the biggest prick in the world. That's what I hated too. It's like, no, Rob Zombie, you don't understand Halloween. Because if you did, you wouldn't have did to Loomis what you did do to him. Meaning, Loomis has always been the person that's tried to been there for Michael, help him, understand him. What's he like now? Oh, he's selling books and trying to get rich off of what he did. I was like, I hated that aspect. Why did you turn Loomis into that character, the lovable character from 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, into this prick in part two? Part one, you didn't get it, really get that feel, but part two, you really did. I hated Loomis in part two for Rob Zombie. Like, God, that was the first movie I wanted to walk out of from the beginning. I told you, I was a couple times I got up. My dad was like, "Man, chill, just sit down. You paid for the ticket." I was like, all right. Sat down. I was like, "Dad," I was like, "Finish it." I'm walking out there. He's like, "No, just sit down." I never had that happen in a movie before. Like I said, I told you the one where I ended right at the end of H2O walked out. But this, I wanted to walk out from. I enjoyed nothing. I've watched it only that one time, the second Halloween. I've never seen it again because there's nothing I want to see. I don't know how many times you've seen Rob Zombie's the second version Halloween, but I've seen it once.
I've only seen Halloween 2 once, and that was last night.
Well, oh, what was your thought? Oh, I can't wait to hear what you thought of this hot mess.
I might get a little heat for this because I just said that I really hated the first one, but the second one for me is better.
Oh,
like
God.
I like the visions and everything. You know, the white horse. It's a little silly. I understand what he was trying to do with it in regards to like, you know, his mom's telling him, "Hey," they do that whole thing where they're in the asylum and gives them that white horse, and oh, we can be together again, and that's his whole.
Lori's seeing it. I hate it. I was like, how is she seeing it? I was like, how did she?
That part towards the end didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I like the second one better than the first because he at least, maybe not for Lori's character, because her dialogue was basically just fuck with some words in between.
That was terrible too, her portrayal. Oh, and of course we can't forget Michael. I don't know which version you've seen, but you know, he at the end, remember, says die to Loomis. So I don't know if you've seen
like he's sitting there grunting when he's killing people. Like he never did that before, and just the excessive. Like we're talking about the fucks and everything. Like that was overly excessive in both films, but also especially in the second one when he's killing people. Like they're already dead, and he's still just like stabbing away 10 more times. I'm like, all right, yeah, we get it. We get it, Rob Zombie. You like horror films. Like it just seems the Loomis thing. I know you hated that part.
Oh, that part I hated.
I think in the context of Rob Zombie's universe, if you take out everything else, like it's kind of a all right twist for the character if you don't really think about how he was in the originals.
You know my love for him. I think that's it because I love Loomis's character so much, and when I heard Rob Zombie saying how much he loves and respects Halloween, I thought, hey, he's going to do him right. And then he completely did him wrong. And, you know, when you were talking about all the fucks in the movie that drove me nuts, the one part was actually towards the beginning. You remember when the two guys that are driving the ambulance hit that cow in the middle of the road? And that one guy who kept spitting up blood and kept saying, "Black, black, black." I was like, okay, are you going to really say this 30 times? I was like, Michael, kill him already. It was like over the top. It added nothing to the movie. But, I mean, like you said, if those parts you liked, cool. But, oh, God, God, I hate it too. I'm never watching that movie again. I don't even know. Tyler, did you ever see the part 2 of Rob Zombie?
I saw some of it on TV. I think like a year or two. Some of it just because it was on, and I remember when my brother saw it, he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna hate it, dude. It sucked." And everything I heard about it, I'm like, I don't need to see this movie. I'm tired of seeing movies that I know are going to be bad. I feel they're going to be bad. People say they're bad. I watched it anyway, and then I end up being very angry with myself. You know, Alien vs. Predator and G.I. Joe are two examples of that. But it was on AMC, and I sat and watched a few moments, and I thought, God, man, the acting is bad. It's the girl that's playing Laurie. I can't stand her. Her and her friends just, oh man, we're so, you know, rocker. You know, we're wild and crazy, and we cuss while we're working at the record store. And, oh, it's great, and like, you know, just all of it. It's just you know, everything that's in that movie is beating you over the head, like from the gore to the language, which I'm like, it's rated R. We expect to see adult language in it, but when you're just cussing because you're given free range to say whatever you want, it's you know,
it loses its effectiveness.
Well, yeah, like when you watch, you know, 48 Hours and Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy are cussing each other, it's not done in every scene, but when it happens, it's funny as hell because it's effective in the moment. But you can't have everybody just cuss.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes irritating. It's not fun. It's not. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I mean, they're like Sabotage, that movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger did a while back. I mean, they say fuck. I don't know how many times throughout that movie it's just like, okay, we get it. This is a hard R. It's violent. But can you guys come up with another word to say in the English language that's not that?
Right.
And Tropic Thunder, Tom Cruise keeps cussing and cussing. I'm like, dude, stop it, man. We get it. You're the sleazy, uh, uh, studio man. I forgot what his role was in that movie, but it's just like we get it. But come up with some more with your dialogue other than just saying shit and ball, just cussing to be cussing. Like I get fed up with that. Cussing is it's a nice capper to witty dialogue or a funny reaction to stuff. Not we can't come up with anything good to say. So just fill the rest in with a bunch of choice 4-letter words, and people will love it. And they'll laugh. It'll be great.
I get what he was trying to do, but it just, like Joe was saying, like if you're gonna sit here and say, "Oh, I respect the franchise and I love the franchise so much," and like that's what you put on screen, and I still like his work. I know a lot of people probably haven't seen Lords of Salem, but I like that a lot. It took what he does best with the visuals and at least had a story that wasn't something that he was going to bastardize, I need to go and see it again because I don't remember so much of the dialogue. If it's more the same like that, but I don't even remember Devil's Rejects, where it's just like
no, and that House of
every other
Thousand
word.
Corpses were fun movies. There was nothing irritating about either one of those films. They were fun horror movies, and that's why you felt like you were in good hands with someone remaking Halloween like Rob Zombie. You think, what the hell happened here, man?
I was scared from the beginning, and good reason to be. I just knew it wasn't going to work for Halloween. It didn't for me. There's those that loved it. It's great. Like Grim Dagon in the chat room, he agrees the cussing's too much. He said he liked part 1 aside from the super white trash aspect. He said part 2, and he says he likes Tyler as Michael. He said he's huge and brutal. And you know what? Like I said, that can make sense. But again, that's when
I had no problem with Tyler being Michael either. It was just everything, the way everything was executed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was, again, Rob Zombie contradicting himself. He said he likes Michael Myers because he's more methodical of his killings and spookier compared to Jason being brutal and vicious. And what's he do? He turns him into Jason. I was like, well, what do you want then? You say one thing and you do another. He contradicts himself. So that's what drove me nuts, especially part 2. Like I said, he's killing like he is Jason Voorhees. But
yeah, and not to mention like his face. Like he shows his face so much in part 2.
Yeah.
Like he spends most of it walking around looking like a hobo without wearing the mask, and then he'll like put it on when he's gonna kill people. I'm like, what?
Just hated it. I hated it. And one quick thing to go back to part 1 real quick. When he first got the Michael Myers mask from the boy that was sleeping with his sister, or whatever the hell happened, I don't even know. I'm starting to shut things out in my head. But when Michael put on the when he put on the Michael Myers mask, and he then sees his sister, and then walks in there, and then of course he kills her. But from there, and then going to see the little baby, and then being outside eating the candy, and then of course you see what happens, and then he's in the insane asylum. Then when he gets out, he goes back to the old Myers house. He goes upstairs, unearths a board upstairs, and breaks through it, and then gets out. Like, oh wait, you had time to do that? Wait, you actually got up a floorboard, you sit there, you hammered the stuff down, you buried the mask. Like, when did he have time to do? I remember that part drove me nuts too. It was like, when
now you're overthinking it like Tyler does.
Yeah, in a way, but it killed me. But no, from pretty much though, I mean, the Halloween series it's a fantastic series. Everybody always loves Michael Myers. We want to see some respect done for him. So hopefully when this new one comes out, I believe next year, hopefully it's done somewhat with some kind of taste and respect. Who knows? Like I said, I try not to have any expectations too high because then I'm only going to be let down. So I just rather, let's see what the hell happens. But pretty much it's a celebrated series. It's a fantastic series, a fantastic iconic character. Like I said, he's one of the top 3 with Jason, Michael, and Freddy. Those are the top 3 iconic horror characters pretty much of all time. So yes, I love, like I said, the Halloween series, sometimes at least for 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, more than anything, just getting into the mood. But when I like a good just slashing movie, hell yeah, I love my Friday the 13th series, and I love Jason more, but Michael's the other dude. So they're all, like I said, they're all iconic. But oh man, I'm winded because I enjoyed this episode so much, even with the nonsense crap that we hated.
I'm depressed. Like I'm just down in the dumps, man. Like my head, my head, I feel like I need to take an Advil or something like that, man. I'm the complete opposite of you right now, man.
I don't know. I just get hyped up. It's like I do want to watch some Halloweens right now after talking about it. So, but well, any final thoughts from you in the whole Halloween series, Nathan?
Um, I don't, man, I don't hold it in as high regard as Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. I like, especially going back and watching part six and really thinking about it and hearing you talk about it. Like the continuity is I guess the strongest aspect of that franchise, whereas you didn't get it with the other two. I think there's more consistency and like quality and rewatchability in the other two franchises than there is in Halloween for me. But he's still an iconic character. There's no. The first Halloween is like the definitive horror movie. Like,
Yeah.
I would say.
No, and you know what's funny because that is a good example. See, that's the thing. I could go to any of the Friday the 13th, from some of the favorites to least favorites, but I can watch any of them and enjoy them from right there. It's like, if I watch part seven, damn, I love watching seven, and I can watch three as for what it is. But it's like when I watch Halloween one, or if I see two, or let's say part four popped on TV, I feel like I have to watch one, two, four, five, six. I feel like I have to watch them all because it just feels like they all flow right into the same thing what I grew up with and knowing them. But the other ones, like I said, I can watch Friday the 13th 8 or 2, and I don't feel like I have to watch them all. I can just enjoy every damn Friday the 13th for what it is. But you're right, the continuity maybe makes me want to go into the others. But, shoot. So, well, I wanted to say one thing now that we're done talking about Halloween, and before we wrap it up, this is what I want to tell everybody what to do. If you don't know already, today is October 27th. Stranger Things season 2 has started on Netflix. So,
Gosh, so what you were hyping up is it like, dude?
No.
What?
If there's people that love Stranger Things, I didn't want them saying, "Oh shit," and turning off the show, because I'm gonna have to watch at least the first episode after we're done here. And unlike Tyler, who I know loves binge watching, and he's gonna hate me for this, which he always does.
I'm already on episode 3.
I have patience, and I'm gonna be watching one episode per week. I'm gonna try to drag this out
Per week.
Yes, per week, because I want to feel like it's a TV show, and I don't want the whole excitement to be gone. I don't want to watch it and be like, damn, waiting for more. I'm going to drag the hell out of this. So you two are going to be way ahead of me. You'll probably binge watch it this weekend. And
I'll have it done, but before I go back to work on Monday.
I know you will. So will Nathan probably, but I'm just watching one episode, like I said, every week. That's it. So everybody out there, if you didn't know about Stranger Things Seasons 2, yes, it's already started, so you can go ahead and make sure you go see that on Netflix. But yeah, I'm excited about seeing that. Like I said, I'm kind of exhausted, but yeah, what a hell of an episode.
Were you aware of the season 1 Blu-ray that came out at Target in the VHS packaging?
Well, I found out from Tyler, from you, of showing the picture. I was like, that looks cool as hell. How much was that?
That was $25.
I'm gonna
have not bad.
I'm gonna have to get that because is there any bonus content?
I know. That's the unfortunate thing. I don't know why there wasn't any bonus features.
Okay, well, still worth seeing. And I don't know if Grim Dagon is saying he'd never seen Stranger Things in general, but if you haven't, and if you have, I don't know. He says he's never seen it. I don't know if he's making reference to Stranger Things, but if you haven't seen it yet, go to Netflix, watch the whole first season of Stranger Things, then start watching season 2, which just started today. Fantastic series. So,
oh god, yes.
How'd you want to wrap it up, Tyler or Nathan? Since we'll wrap this up.
Tyler, you got any more final thoughts on Halloween?
I didn't think that the last episode for our Halloween season I would end in such a depleted mental state right here. I just feel like I needed a shot in the arm here. I guess probably just from the long work week as well too. But I mean, I apologize for listeners for sounding like such a downbeat mode. But I adore those first 2 films, and hell, I mean, we could do it sometime later this year or even next Halloween to go back and just praise the hell out of the first 2 films, like why they're so good. Elaborate. Because we really didn't touch much on either one of those first 2 films. We spent most time just talking about the sequels. That's probably why I was so bothered and upset and depressed. Joe's like, we got to talk about for 5 minutes. The greatest movie of all time.
That's right.
Now we're gonna get you on that producer's cut though, Tyler. I'm gonna even if I have to sit there and watch it with you.
Please,
something like that. It has to be made worth my while. Like I have to be given some sort of give me a toy at the end of the movie or something like that. Like to get me through it.
Hey, this is what you do, Nathan. I think they might be $7. Buy him a Stranger Things action figure. Give him one of those and say, okay, now go ahead and
That's not good enough. No. I'm not going to sit and put myself.
You're not a cheap date, are you? He's like,
no, I'm not. I need to be finessed.
I won't steak
dinner. I'm not going to go that
far. I need to be romanced. I need to, be loved. I need to feel desired. To quote Ghostbusters 2 there.
I have needs. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Buying me an $8 figure from the reaction line at Target in the adult collector section is not going to get me to sit through the producer's cut of Halloween 6.
Oh, shit.
So you have to try harder than that, man.
All right. Well, Nathan, your final thoughts before Tyler wraps the show up.
For people that are listening, and if you haven't watched any of the Halloween movies, man,
watch the producer's cut.
No, well, watch 1 and 2 because classics. 3, watch, but don't put yourself in the mindset of these belong. Obviously, avoid the Rob Zombie movies unless you want to torture yourself like I did. And watch the producer's cut and probably 4 and 5 since they kind of go together.
So watch everything but H2O and Resurrection.
When he watches them. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Avoid the last 4 Halloween films.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this week's episode. And we appreciate JSP and Grim Dagon and everybody else that was watching us in the live chat room and participating. And if you get a chance, go ahead. Check out Stranger Things Season 2. And for Grim, check out Season 1 and Season 2. But next week, we'll have to touch on some video game stuff. I think that's something that we need to do. We're going to go some old vintage, maybe 8-bit, 16-bit, but we're going to have a video game discussion next week. That's going to be something I think all of us could probably get into.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, screw you, Tyler. All right, okay. So until next week, see you guys. So thanks for joining us. So see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Are you trying to tell me my money's not good enough for you? I find that a little hard to swallow, you jock ass.
Time to get some pizza.
Yeah.